Most racing outsiders might just see racing as driving in circles really fast, but they always overlook the most important element of the sport: strategy. A racing strategy can make the impossible possible.
Oh my god! What did you do?
Or, if done wrong, it can completely ruin a race.
Stay out, stay out, stay out!
Fuck! Fuck! Why? What I do?
Or even a championship.
Oh, I'm just speechless, Lewis. Absolutely speechless.
And with strategy being such a big part of racing, it's a surprise we don't see a lot of it in iRacing. Yeah, maybe a series requires one pit stop, but it never affects the outcome of a race. But then, iRacing added rain.
When it rains, it pours. Water's up to my chin. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it. Many men have fell. Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell. And I've been running from the law.
Hello, I'm Joey, and welcome to the FASTLANE forecast. We're going to analyze the weather for the upcoming race that you're about to watch and see if it's better for wet or dry tires. So, taking a look at the radar, it just freshly rained about 20 minutes ago. The track is very lightly wet, but you never know if that's weather that calls for dry tires. So, I mean, it's literally a gamble at this point. It's up to the drivers. They have to use their intuition to understand which tire is the faster tire over the course of the entire race. But with that being said, the drone team actually just emailed me a picture of the entire grid and all of the tires they're using. And it looks like the majority is rain tires with only 4 people going on dries. I really hope those people on dry tires know what they're doing because it looks like they're outnumbered. Anyways, let's send it over to Race Joey to get on with this race already and see how this race pans out. Wow, thank you to the FASTLANE forecasters for making that segment just amazing. An amazing overview of the start of this race. It's a little wet and we're one of the 4 cars that are on dry tires, so let's see if it was worth it to go on dry tires when it's still a little wet out. You could see the spray going off the cars ahead of us, and we're gonna brake really early. We don't know what the track feels like yet. This is our first time driving on it, and behind us they're going 3 wide, and we go a little wide out of the exit of turn 1. Getting on the curb with dry tires when it's a wet curb is just a massive no-no. I mean, we almost spun out. Any wet patches, any puddles, or anything that you hit with dry tires, you're literally just going to spin off. But we're promoted into P2 because the car ahead of us into turn 1 just completely went off as well. But going into turn 3, we have a massive group behind us, and I think we feel the pressure getting on the curb. Again, we clearly didn't learn our lesson from turn 1, getting on the curb, almost spinning out, and luckily the guy that was in P3 behind us saved us from spinning. We made contact with him, giving him a 4X, unfortunately, but he saved us from spinning. Going into turn 4 now, and we're 3 wide with people on wets. I mean, at this point, I was fully considering that I'm just on the wrong tire because I'm making mistakes every single corner and getting overtaken by people on wets constantly. And car number 10 getting into a puddle on the outside of the track, getting into the side of us and going off track. And that's going to leave a little bit of a gap behind us, which is really good because we need breathing room for these dry tires because we're making mistakes literally every single corner. And the people on wets are literally just capitalizing on those mistakes that we're making every single corner with these dries on. And I'm, like I said before, second guessing myself if this is the right tire, but it should clear up later in this race, and that's what we're banking on. I'm really hoping that it clears up later in this race. Looking ahead, Aidan is having to defend his position against this guy on wet tires, and he ends up being successful. Going on to lap number 2 now. Something I should note is that wet tires are actually slower in a straight line, so as long as Aidan doesn't fuck it up into turn 1, he should pull away from this guy pretty significantly, and I should gain on him. But going into the exit of turn 1, he does the exact same thing that I did on lap 1, getting on the curb, almost spinning out, and that's going to give him a really poor run. We might catch him going into turn number 3, but it probably isn't smart to go for an overtake because, I mean, I'm on dry tires. I don't know where the wet patches are on the track. I've only done 1 lap to figure out how to drive this track, depending on the state it's in right now. And I mean, it's really not worth going into a puddle that I didn't know was there, or a wet patch I didn't know was there, and braking a little bit too late to go too wide. It's just not worth doing on dry tires. I would instantly spin and just it's just not worth it. But going into turn 3, looking ahead, up to Aidan. He's going to have a really weird line through the corner and get on the throttle a little too early, and we're going to make a 4x contact with him, and he's just going to slide off into the wall. Really unfortunate for him, and I mean, another example of why I'm second guessing myself if we made a mistake going onto this tire. But I mean, the sun is out, it's not raining, so surely in a couple of laps time it should come back to us. You can just see how much I'm understeering and how late I'm getting on throttle and how little curves and how little track I'm actually using to make sure I don't make any mistakes. But we're going to skip ahead to lap number 3 and show who's using what tires. First place using wet tires, and then second place a little bit behind him is also on wet tires, and the third place on dry tires, and then fourth is on wet tires. So, I mean, that's looking pretty good for us as long as we can keep it together while it's still wet and, like, just wait for the conditions to actually start going into our favor, because 3 out of the 4 people ahead of us are on wet tires. So we're effectively in second place right now as long as we have pace later on once the conditions start to dry up. And if you look at the sky, it's very sunny. So at this point, I had a lot of hope because in the first couple of laps, or at least the first lap, it looked pretty gloomy. The track was very wet, but I mean, if you look ahead of us, the track looks dry. The only thing that would tell you that it's wet is literally the diffuser kick up from the cars. And I mean, this terrible understeer. We're getting into turn 3. But yeah, it looks dry, and I mean, it's very sunny out, so it should start drying up even quicker. But I mean, now that it's about to start drying up, we have 4 seconds to the people ahead of us that are on wets. So we're gonna skip ahead to lap number 8, where we actually started catching them. I mean, the track is definitely drying up now. It's very sunny, and we caught them by 3 seconds at this point. And Diana up ahead, that's also on dries, passed one of the people on wet tires already. So the strategy is starting to go in our favor, and you could see that happening by the end of turn number 4. I mean, we've caught Simon ahead of us. We're only 4 tenths behind now, and just look how much they're struggling on their wet tires. I mean, clearly the strategy is working, and it's just so rewarding to go into this race thinking you're going to die because you're making the complete wrong decision. It's literally a 50-50 chance, and here you are overtaking the people that are on the majority of wet tires. Like, everybody's on wet tires, and here you are overtaking all of them. And I mean, 1 out of 4 people with, I think there's like 22 to 24 people in a peak up race. You're 1 of 4 people that chose the correct tire for the race. I don't know, it's just a crazy rewarding race. I never really get to race races like this where it's like pure strategy, and it just basically only depends on what choice you make, not how much pace you have or whatever. It's just really rewarding. And like I said before, the wet tires are much slower in a straight line, so we really easily get this overtake done on this other guy on wet tires. So we're promoted into P3 now. P1 has wet tires on still. P2, Diana has dry tires on. So, I mean, we're probably not going to catch Diana, so we're effectively right now in P2. Diana is they also set the fastest lap of the race, and I mean, they're 6.8k, so we're probably not going to be catching them anytime soon, or even at all. But Julio in first place is on wet tires, and they're doing a really good job of holding first place in these drier conditions. I mean, there's barely any spray now at all. You can't really see it unless you get on a curb or go off of the dry line. The dry line is basically bone dry at this point. The pace is definitely not fully there because you can't use all of the track, but there definitely is a dry line. But skipping ahead to lap number 10, on board with Diana, about to make the overtake on Julio, who's on wet tires up ahead. You can see how much understeer there is on the dry tire, but in a straight line and around most of these corners, I mean, it's just the better tire. There's no spray on Julio's car, and he's on wet tires. I mean, all I can think about is how much Julio is overheating those tires. He might be fast right now in these conditions, but later on in this race, his tires are going to be completely cooked, which is perfect for us. But on board with Diana, trying to make this overtake, going around the outside, and it's not going to work. Oh, I guess it is going to work. Julio's going to give him the position. I think he backed out there, getting on throttle really late, not using a lot of the track there. I think he accepted his fate, but going back on board with us, looking at the relative, 7 seconds ahead to Julio, and we still have 7 laps of this race to make up that time, which is definitely I definitely think it's possible. Second a lap is definitely possible in these conditions, but I mean, looking behind us, we have the long lost dry tire runner, Valentine, and we're going to skip ahead to lap number 12 because they're catching us. I think they're a 7.1K driver, which means, I mean, they're quick, so we need to make sure we keep them behind us, and I don't know what I was doing. I broke on the curb is wet, and I locked up going into the gravel, and I tried to go on the service road to get a good run and not lose the position, but I completely forgot that there's no dry line on the service road because nobody's running it over to make it dry. So it's just completely wet. I'm sliding everywhere, losing even more time, and I lose the position ultimately to Valentine. So we have 2 dry tire runners ahead of us and Julio in second place, and we basically lost all of the time we made up to Julio doing that dumb mistake going into the gravel. So great, now we have to make up all that time again, but we're gonna skip ahead to lap number 16, and we're still right on Valentine's ass. I mean, I don't know for sure if this is the reason he was not that quick, but I'm assuming he was running max wing setting, which means he was running max downforce, which means he was very slow on the straights. Because if you look here, I mean, obviously I'm in the slipstream, so I'm going to gain on him, but it's just crazy how much I gain on him very quickly. So I think he was running max wing, which was making him slower than normal, which is why I was able to keep up with him. But going into turn number 3, we try to make a move around the outside, and it doesn't work. We're trying to stay a little conservative until we catch Julio, because this is the penultimate lap. We can't really waste that much time to get around Julio because, I mean, he's basically an easy free position as long as we don't fight and lose too much time, and I don't want to risk not making up that position before the end of the race. So staying behind Valentine, sticking behind him, getting past Julio, going on board with Valentine. There we go. Both of us are behind, or both of us are ahead of Julio now, and my main focus is to get past Valentine before the end of this race. Diana is on dries, Valentine's on dries, I'm on dries. This race was clearly ruled by people on dry tires, obviously Aidan being the odd one out because he made a pretty massive mistake and we helped him go into the wall. But I mean, clearly this race was ruled by people on dry tires, and Valentine put up his wing to 14, I'm pretty sure, so I want to capitalize on that as much as possible. Going on to the final lap now, and we're right in his slipstream. He's very slow on the straights. This is a given. We have to get him. This race started off as a strategic race, completely just mind games, gambling 50-50 on what tire we should go on to, and just hoping that we made the right choice to picking the right tire and battling the people that are on the same tire as us. And going into turn number 3, we're going to go 2 by 2. We have the outside, and we're not going to make it stick. Trying to get a really good exit to get the switchback, and he mastered that corner. That was just crazy. I mean, that was like the 3rd time this race. We went around the outside, and it just didn't work. But we're going into turn number 4 now, and we really have to make a move here. This is the last overtaking opportunity. He's going to defend. We were way too far back to make a move, so I don't even know why he bothered defending. I mean, that was just a weird decision by him, but I mean, that's going to give us a way better run than him. Going around the outside of this next corner, we're really going to have to try to make a stick around the outside here, because this is our last chance to overtake him. Getting on throttle really early to make it stick around the outside, but we're gonna go in the gravel. Getting on throttle a little too early, and at this point I was thinking it's over, there's no more overtaking opportunities. But then going onto the straight, I completely forgot he's slow on the straights, so I have another overtaking opportunity into the penultimate corner. Going around the outside, he's gonna defend it, and we're gonna go full send, getting on throttle early again, but I'm gonna take the off track. I'm at 16x at this point. I'm going to try to open this last corner up as much as possible to get the switch back, and it's going to be a drag race to the line. We're side by side. He's slow on the straight, so I might get it, and I don't. P3. I mean, that was a crazy fucking end to this race. I mean, what a race overall. Amazing strategy, amazing battling at the end. I mean, what else can you ask for?